The Police Commission regular meeting of June 11th, 2025. This is the meeting that has been moved a week early because of summer vacations and commissioners not being able to attend next week. With that, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, with that, do I have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
None.
Hearing none, motion to approve the agenda as published.
Motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Chief, you're up first.
Hello. Before we get going on the normal regular meeting, we want to do a presentation for Life Saving Award. We give you a little background of what, how this came about. Then I'm going to call the people involved up. I'm going to read the accommodation, and then we'll do some pictures afterwards. Okay.
Very good.
Back in April, Officer Pete Darzniak responded to one of our marinas. I'm just going to use a marina, about an individual who had fallen in the water. I think April is still going to be cold water coming off the winter, 53-degree water. And he said that there was a group of ladies that helped this gentleman who had fallen in the water and basically saved his life. He gave us all, he wrote a report on it, gave us all the information on it. We did some follow-up. We interviewed the gentleman who's here today, and then the ladies who were basically say they did save his life. And then we came up with this accommodation. So if I can call them up right now, the ladies. And then we'll start with Mr. John Farah. He's the individual who needed help. Do you mind coming up, John? And then Amy Anderson. If you guys just want to stand back here, right here's good. And then Amy Stromick, Caitlin Crump, Melissa Misko, Michaela Blesky. Did I get that right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. So these are the ladies that are going to be getting the accommodation today. And this is Mr. Farah, the one that they assisted. So I'm going to read this out. It's about a page long. On April 26, 2025, at approximately 10 a.m., Mr. Farah fell into 53-degree water near his dock and remained partially submerged for over 25 minutes. Unable to escape the cold water due to physical weakness, Miss Caitlin Crump and Miss Michaela Lublisky heard an unknown person yelling for help. They located Mr. Farah in the water below the height of the seawall. So if you guys know how marinas are, they have that seawall, the sound bounces off of it. Seawall in a dangerous position. Took action to get help with others, formed a rescue response plan. Miss Stromick immediately called 911. She, along with Ms. Misko and Ms. Anderson, joined Ms. Crump and Ms. Robluski to coordinate and execute a rescue plan. Despite the physical difficulty, the group worked together to assist Mr. Farah from the freezing water to safety, transporting him via vessel to a nearby boat ramp into the care of emergency responders. Mr. Farah, who later described the event as life-threatening, wanted to publicly credit these 5 women as having saved his life and referred them as 5 angels. In recognition of their courageous action, decisive teamwork, and dedication to the preservation of life, Police Chief Doug Carmack and the Groesville Police Commission hereby award life-saving accommodations to Amy Anderson, Amy Stromick, Caitlin Crump, Melissa Misko, and Michaela Robleski, whose selfless actions reflect the highest values of community service, bravery, and compassion, awarded this 11th day, June of 2025. So thank you, ladies, and here's your accommodations right here. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Maybe you guys want to speak?
Thank you.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you, ladies, and that was pretty, because at that time of the year, people forget April, there's no boats in the water, right?
No boats
In
in
these
the water.
marinas, so if it wasn't for you guys, it just probably would have been different. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So you can go to the deputy chief, he's gonna take some pictures.
Thank you. Smile, Uncle John.
If you're gonna get roasted, you know, the girls, 5 beautiful ladies, it doesn't get much better than that.
One of them is my daughter and one of them is my granddaughter.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
Chief, do we want to take a quick recess to take some pictures?
Deputy chiefs just can take pictures of the group.
Okay.
It's not like a team thing for us. It's for them, for the
Absolutely.
preservation and for Facebook. So
Moving on, public comment, not seeing any public in here. Action item. So the action item for the approval to expand the police commission to 7. Do I hear a motion today, or are we?
I believe I think we can table it
We can table it.
and push that to another
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
So then Eric can be here too.
So with that, then, do I not hear a motion then at this time? And to
Correct.
table it? Okay. Very good.
I think we have to approve the minutes. Yeah.
Oh, did I skip over that? I apologize. Thank you, Chief. Do I hear a motion to approve the May 20th, 2025 regular Police Commission meeting minutes?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Now, action item. Thank you, Chief. With the approval to expand the Police Commission to 7 commissioners, do I hear a motion, discussion, and then we can discuss whether to table it or not?
Are you saying you,
Or do we just want to table it?
I think who brought the motion up can table it.
Right.
I believe, so they can just.
So-
right, so I think just holding off for Eric, I'll feel better. So I'd like to table the motion to approve to expand the police commission to 7 commissioners.
Okay, very good. Then moving on to discussion items, the Police Department open house.
So we've done these before in the past, and this is for all of us to discuss here. We try to do it around September 11th. But this is not just picking a day and doing it. This is very involved. There's a lot of time and effort in this organization. The deputy chief will have to schedule everybody, and they'll come in, and this is a department-wide help. They have to plan the displays. They give out tours of certain parts of the department. They schedule vendors. They have to find vendors. They have them come in, be in the back parking lot to entertain kids and make it worth wanting to come see the police department beyond looking at the typical things. Coordinating the SWAT team. We have a SWAT member bring the vehicle and a couple of SWAT members. The dive team. We do jail tours. Our ACO talks about the animal shelter and what she does, and she has some really cool displays. DEA will have a display there, and then tasers, and then weapons that are safe. Then we have to figure out what we're going to advertise on Facebook, Instagram, the Island Grand, or the Township Facebook page. And then on top of all that, all these supplies are ordered by Wendy, typically. And that's food, drinks, and handout materials and kid stuff. So the earlier we get ahead on this, to kind of get a date narrowed down or what the commission wants to see, I think this would be real good for future millage advertisement for us, and to advertise the department what we provide to the community.
No, I totally agree. I think we should try to nail down a date, just because everybody's calendars are always so busy. And I know September is busy because it's back to school time, but I also spoke with Chief Roscoe, and fire is definitely November, and I think it's like the 3rd week. Well, I'm sorry, not November, October, and I think they are the 3rd week of October typically. I don't think they have a set date for sure, but I think it's that Sunday in October, the 3rd Sunday.
And looking at the schedule, I was looking at that too. Either the 2nd or 3rd week of September. The 2nd week is that Saturday after September 11th. Is that, Chief, what you were kind of contemplating?
The 13th or the 14th?
We're open. We just gotta look at, maybe have a couple days to pick out, because we also have the employees that are our staff that are gonna be taking their own vacations. So we
Right.
gotta kind of look what we have. We gotta kind of merge a lot of different things into take place. What were you gonna say?
Do you prefer a Saturday or would a Sunday be appropriate?
I don't think it really matters. September 11th is a Thursday. There's different trains of thought. Thursday's baseball. I don't think baseball goes that late, but it's kind of sports. And you have sports. September is football, gyro football on the Saturday and Sundays. So you have different sports. So during the week, sometimes can make it more advantageous to have families around. I don't think there's a perfect day. So
I know fire does theirs on Sunday. I don't know if,
that's not, if they do it in November though, well, it's still football
October.
season. It's still football.
yeah.
Can't have it at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. Can't. That's a rule somewhere. I'm joking.
No.
Whenever.
15 p.m.
So
105.
tentatively, we're looking at the second or third Saturday. Everybody can look at their schedules and we can follow up with each other later then.
Yeah, if you're for sure on a Saturday, you're talking the 13th or the 20th.
Saturday or Sunday. You
Okay,
got
so the
13th and
13th,
14th,
14th, 2021.
Very
I
good.
mean-
All right.
How are those dates? It more depends on us, on our availability.
Right.
Versus you guys, but having the
Right.
commissioners there and talk to people is always a bonus, you know.
So if you guys check your calendars and check the schedule, I don't know if, I'm sure Todd, does he do it that far in advance?
The
Yeah.
schedule's done out to September 30th, I think. Yeah, it's
Well,
out.
then I would leave it up to them to decide.
Okay, so both the chief and deputy chief can take a look and,
Yep.
yeah.
We have a dunk tank, and traditionally the commissioners sit in it, so.
You first.
I thought the chief said
No,
that.
no, we did one year a long time ago. but
Chief, I will do a dunk tank if you do the dunk tank.
That's what I said,
I
him
will do it
first.
after, you can
Sign
go
me up.
first. So
I'll
Do
go
it first,
Then
but
I'll-
you will definitely go if I
I'll have to
go.
go, I'll have to go.
I made that public threat on TV. You will definitely be going if I go. All right, moving on. Department updates.
I got kind of a little bit longer list than normal, but I want to go over Island Fest.
What's that?
I want to go over Island Fest first.
Very good.
As we know, it was May 30th, 31st, and June 1st. I think that was one of our better Island Fests we've ever had. I know it rained a little bit on Friday. We had a good turnout on people up until the rain. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we had a good turnout. The way that a whole bunch of people within our department, we kind of changed the way we set it up. I don't know if you guys saw that we had it looked like a stronger police presence than normal with the way all the cars were lined up and the way we're all positioned. It's the exact same number as years past. We're pretty close.
Sure.
What really helped was the bridge opened. Well, it helped the people come across. And then we also got I want to kind of thank a whole bunch of people here. We got assistance from the Woodhaven Reserves on 2 of the days. They always come through and help us out, and we returned the favor of Sam Jam. So our reserves will go there. Our reserve unit's a smaller unit. People forget there's only 8 of them. So they work Friday from about 4 p.m. till midnight, come back at 8:30 and 9 a.m. to do the parade on Macomb Street. Kind of take a break for an hour or two, but it's not enough to go home. And then they start doing the Island Fest from basically noon or 1, depending. They try to stagger them all the way back to midnight again. And then they clean up all those signs that you see. And we only have 8 people, so it's kind of they put a lot of hours. They're volunteers, and they're not paid. That's really important. They do it for our community. Many of our own officers work 16-hour shifts as part of the details, more than their 12. Deputy Chief Brozak is the one that did all the scheduling for all these people, coordinated everybody over all the different days. Lieutenant Counts planned it all and preparing operational plans for each day and how we were going to go and where people were going to be for certain events. Sergeant Vasquez ran the parade and Island Fest in the sense of he took the operational plan and he coordinated and monitored all the reserves and the officers on and the full-time officers that were on scene there. Secretary Robledo is the one that coordinated and ordered all the supplies that we would bring down. And you think about it, supplies, you got to feed and give drinks and then things that we need for Island Fest. She pre-planned, and then Captain Price, who's a reserve Captain Price, for running the fireworks when we did the release. That's kind of our worst time, is when the fireworks get out, several thousand cars. We appreciate everyone's efforts for that. And he also had our dispatchers handling all the calls that come in on fireworks night and throughout the parade. People calling for missing kids or missing items. Any questions on that? I was actually very happy the way it went.
I think you guys did a phenomenal job.
I was going to say the traffic flow seemed to be much better, especially at the main intersection there out front where we weren't allowing the cars to come out of the parking area, but forcing them to go out the back entrance, exit. It worked out very well. It seemed to cut down on the congestion there, especially with the pedestrians. You guys did a great job.
We also planned for the Free Bridge to be closed. So we needed more people to cover the north end. And then we were able to collapse them in, and that kind of gave us a couple more people to help do what you were just saying. So we were a little worried about it. Police hire update. Mr. Ames signed his conditional hire. So what that means, his next steps are, I'm going to go in a little bit about staffing, is he's currently starting his background investigation. His medical and drug screening is scheduled. His psych exam is scheduled. Depending on how long that takes, and then he has to go into, then eventually when it gets to hire, we go to the board and we say he's passed all the requirements, the board approval to hire him, and then he has 1 year of probation, FTO program, and he has to complete all that, and then after that year, the conditional offers for that year, he has to complete all those requirements. So if you look at our timelines, I know you've heard this in the past, we're down 2 unfilled positions from 24 to 22. We have 1 off on a medical, 1 off on workers' comp, and 1 off on FMLA. So it's 5 people off right now. 1 of them is going to come back soon. 1 of them we have another officer that's going to be on FMLA, pre-scheduled for his family, FMLA. And then we may have another officer coming back in July. I don't kind of playing the game here, put us back. We're going to go from 5 to 6, back to 5, off. Possibly in July we may have another officer coming back, and that should put us back to 4, and then people should start coming back from that point on. So, and then when Mr. Ames completes the process and finishes his FTO program, we're anticipating maybe late August at the earliest September, where he can kind of be on his own, depending on how his training goes. And then other officers should come back at that time. So we're hoping by end of September we just have 1 open spot. Hopefully. But during that whole time, officers are going to be, and dispatchers, and whoever works for our department, all the employees are going to be taking their vacation time too. That doesn't include on top of that. So it's going to stress the deputy chief doing the scheduling and trying to work magic with fewer people. So I just want to kind of pass that on. Any questions on that? And that's all I have for the department update. Some of you guys had asked me on the side about the DEA position. So right now we're still holding them off until possibly July, because if we pull him out, that's just another position of stress on the officers. But while he's out, we're not bringing any future seizures that we count on down the road. So it's kind of do you really hurt people by taking away summer vacations and all these things, or just keep them back on the road for a couple more, like another month and a half, and hopefully our timeline fulfills itself. The DEA vehicle that we ordered should be arriving tomorrow. But this affects forfeiture and future deposits of possible future forfeiture deposits, which now are starting to shrink because of what's going on right now. So it's kind of one double-edged sword there. Any questions on any of that?
So I've kind of mentioned that. I mentioned it in my last trustee report. I've talked about it before. I think there's a gap in understanding from a few people on the board on how forfeiture works, and how important it is to our budget.
Well, it's extra money.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So this, if I can use it as an example, I'll use a big number. If $1 million is seized today by a task force, one of our task force officer, we don't get $1 million.
Right.
The government or the state, depending how you prosecute the money, you take it through the court system, takes 20%. So now we're down to 800,000. Then it has to go through the courts. Well, after it goes through the court system first, and whatever they negotiate or work out or deals that are made in the court, whatever money is left, the state or federal government takes 20% of that. And then the remaining portion is split up equally between the member agencies of the task force. So you could have anywhere from, and that 130,000 of a million, but that won't come into a possible deposit into our DOJ account for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. That big one we got last year, that was in the litigation for 4 years. So you can't count and budget on this money saying I'm going to have a future of 300,000 coming down the pipeline. I could see what we have left in seizures that are still being litigated, and what I can guess the money would be coming down the pipeline. But we haven't been putting any seizures have been happening since we've withdrawn from DEA temporarily because of staffing levels.
Right, I guess
That makes sense? Is that?
it does. It makes total sense. I guess my point is, I wouldn't want you to, I think your plan is the appropriate plan. I wouldn't want you to leave yourselves short staffing only to send somebody off to DEA trying to make money when you don't know you're going to actually make it. I mean, I've explained it to people. I look at it like overtime, right? You're not guaranteed overtime. It comes along ever so often, and you shouldn't bank on it, right? Forfeiture is the same thing. It's nice that we're able to purchase laptops and tasers and body cameras, and those items did not touch the taxpayers. And I think it's really important that people understand. I mean, there's always going to be people that don't want to hear that. But the fact of the matter is, GIPD looks to mitigate as much taxpayer dollar usage as possible. And that's what I always, I mean, I'll sound like a broken record and I don't mind. I just think it's important that we make sure people understand what you guys are always trying to do.
I think the board and the commission has heard me in a couple of presentations about we have a pretty good amount of money right now. We really do. But if you look at the future that's going to be coming in, we've been riding a good wave. Remember when we came in, there were 78,000 in the DOJ.
Right.
Then we hit 1.2, 1.3 at some point, and now it's slowing down because of the different climate and politics. If I could put it that way, you're going to see a slowdown. So we can either spend all this money and go rip right through it and do all these neat things, or protect it because we've had we've had some good years. And so in the time that I've been at DEA or been involved in it, you have the highs and the lows, but it all evens out more than what we're paying out.
Right,
It
and I think
definitely does.
handling it
All these
cautiously.
every police car, I believe, 100%, almost every one of them, I don't want to say 100%, are all drug forfeiture paid for.
Right.
All the guns, like you said, laptops, the tasers, the in-car cameras, the body cams, any type of training equipment, that's all from drug forfeiture. It doesn't come out of our budget.
Right.
We got to protect it. We just can't use it on a reoccurring expenditure that drains it without knowing what the future is going to be.
No, I think you guys have
That's why
done
I
a
fight for
fabulous
it.
job.
That's why I fight for it pretty strong. So, like, well, I think part of it was, the conversation was the school resource officer was brought up. We can use
Yes.
forfeiture for it. We can. We pay for one officer out of DEA funds per the rules. If we pay for a second one, the school resource officer, without knowing what the future is going to be, and we continue buying cars and equipment, that'll be drained in 4 years. That's not a sustainable plan.
I know that's a question I've been asked. I actually looked into it before somebody asked me about it because I know some communities handle them very differently, and I'm sure you have. You've done probably your own due diligence on this. I know a lot of schools typically supplement. They'll do a 9-month pay, and then you get your officer back for 3. Your officer's available if it's an emergent situation, whatever the case may be. But typically that's, as far as I can tell, it's pretty much managed by the schools, and then with the police department taking that extra 3 months on. But there's different scenarios. I'm sure you've seen them all.
I can just recap for the public if they ask, well, why don't we just get a school? Why? It's not that easy.
Right.
Back in 2022, Mr. Budney, myself, and the school superintendent looked very, very diligently into grants. And all the federal grants were out there really sounded great, but what they boiled down to is they paid for 50% for 3 years. And that particular grant from the federal government made it school-specific. You can only put them in one school, and they could not be used for any police functions outside of the school. So you would need, at that time, 4. That's 400 and something thousand that we couldn't afford. Or they'd have to get one for one school. They couldn't bounce around. So we really looked into it. There's a lot of conversations that were back and forth. So everybody kind of agreed the schools couldn't afford it. We could not. We can't afford it now. We all know that our funding is short. We don't have the resources to even fund our entire department, let alone a school resource officer. We don't. So I talked to Mr. Tromka and superintendent. This week we've actually revisited this again, actually the last 2 weeks. We found another grant, but it's the same thing. It covers 75% for 3 years. And then after the 3 years, you're holding it all. And then what do you do with an officer that worked 9 months in a school, 8 months in a school? Do you have them work in the road part-time, work in the school part-time, revolving around there? We've been trying to figure out the schools. I'll let them talk about any, what their possible roles would be for funding. That's their talking points. But I know if we can't fund 24 people now or full staffing, I don't know how we'd be able to take on a school resource officer and fund the department.
I
It's
honestly
not
don't
there.
believe you should have to take on the full responsibility of an SRO.
Well, even 50%. I mean, whatever it works out between
Right.
the powers to be, if I may, down the road. But we are looking into it to try to figure this out. I met with Mr. Tromke yesterday about it. So I think it was yesterday, and we're still looking at it. But we've exchanged a couple grant ideas. But the new DOJ, it's a COPS grant. Sorry, not DOJ, it's a COPS grant. Doesn't give you sustainable funding, and that's the problem. So we kind of came up with some other ideas, but I don't want to share those right now only because they're just ideas. They're not actually put in motion.
Pulled together, yeah. No, I understand.
All right. That's all I got. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on. Liaison report. That's yes, ma'am.
So I've been trying to, because there are so many things that I can highlight. I know in my trustee report I highlighted Officer Darzniak and Sergeant Vasquez, and I'll probably mention Sergeant Vasquez here, but I want to acknowledge Officer Benson. Not too long ago, Officer Benson is our SWAT officer, and he recently provided mutual aid support with a positive outcome during a recent barricade situation in Allen Park. So I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if everybody knows that, we participate in mutual aid, and that's something that I think is well worth highlighting. So another one is the reserves. I did mention this on Monday, but the whole GIPD team worked that event for Island Fest. And I really want to recognize the reserve team, like Chief Carmack. They are not paid. This is all volunteer work, and they were just phenomenal all weekend long. And they assist in more events than just Island Fest, but I want to highlight them again, and I know that Sergeant Vasquez, coordinates them and does a phenomenal job, and I think he was there at least, 18 hours on Saturday and came back at it Sunday morning for his day shift where they were cleaning up. So it's a lot of work, and I don't think that's fully recognized. I think the rec department does a great job, but I think the PD keeps everybody safe. Traffic was flowing phenomenally. I know the traffic officer I was with on Saturday did a fantastic job, and I will say that I'm sorry, I don't think there are too many chiefs that support traffic for their community, and ours does. And it's when we say it's all hands on deck, that means all hands. So thank you, by the way. I also want to, and I'm going to keep doing this because I think it's really important. Our chief, our deputy chief, lieutenant, they do a phenomenal job, and none of them will say it, and so I have no problem repeating it again, but they all go above and beyond. And again, you will not see other chiefs downriver doing the things that they do. We're going to have another closure coming up. I have no doubt that in the morning when I'm going to work or coming home that I am going to see Deputy Chief and Chief waving those wands. And they do a great job, and they keep everybody safe, and they're moving traffic as forward as possible, and they do it very smoothly, and people really need to be made aware of that. And the reason I'm also saying that is we have a nationwide shortage of police officers, and I think it's really important. You know, we had a board full of people who most of us campaigned. We were not running unopposed, and I know myself and I know everybody else that campaigned ran on a promise that was putting public safety first. I think it's really important that we do that. I think we need to start educating ourselves, we meaning the board members, a little bit more. I know I provided a lot of data, and we had debates about other communities and fair salaries, and I'm going to keep coming at that because I don't think that we're doing as good as we should be for our officers, specifically in this case, command staff. So I just want to mention that, and I just feel that you know, our GIPD is our first responders. We need to consider them no different than, you know, everybody was so, you know, ingrained in, you know, first responders are the greatest people in the world during COVID. And then that kind of waned off. And I don't want that to go away because it's going to be no different the next time, you know, we need you guys. And so it's really important. So you're going to hear me over and over, and I'll sound like a broken record, and I'm okay with it. And that's it.
Okay. Deputy Chief, I apologize. We skipped over you. So.
Oh my God, the blotter.
Thought you were.
That's my
Monthly
favorite.
reports.
I knew I wasn't supposed to go next.
That's all right. Well, with the awards, you know, it kind of threw me off, and
I knew I was
getting
missing
ready to
something
leave.
good.
But anyway, Margaret, thank you for the kind words, and I know we all feel the same way. And Mark, welcome. Thank you. A lot goes into these events. Just not the training, but you know, the operations plans, the scheduling, the ordering of supplies, food, the amount of hours, and to put on an event like that. And we did not have. I think we had during the entire weekend. We had one accident, very minor, and there was a missing child that was returned to his parents quickly. That's all that happens. So when you put that many people in this area, and that's the only things that you have that went wrong, that's pretty good. That means we were doing a good job. Rec department did a good job. Chad does a fantastic job setting this up. I know I'm forgetting to mention people, but I can only say good things. And the weather was good, right?
Basically, Saturday was phenomenal. Friday was a little rainy, but it wasn't bad.
But anyway, thank you. So now to the exciting stuff. May of 25, I'm going to go over the numbers for the department. Before I get started with that, I know that you've received the packets. Were there any questions about the statistics or any of the information that we forwarded to you in those? All right. So the calls for service, and I think these are the important numbers, 600 total calls for service in the month of May, 857 incoming calls to dispatch, an additional 112 emergency 911 calls. We did 102 traffic stops, 13 citations, 65 verbal warnings, 35 security notices. For the month, 22 officer reports were filed, 14 FOIA, and 8 accidents. Out of those 8 accidents, we've had 0 car deer. The DB, 19 cases were assigned, 12 cases were closed. Of those 19, we still have 7 active. Animal control had 28 calls for service during the month, which she stays pretty consistent. I need to go back to FOIA. We just completed our records retention purge. That is completely done. So we went back through all our old records in the department, and we follow their retention laws in the state of Michigan, and we were able to get rid of a lot of our old documentation. So that
3
was-
pallets, right?
What's
Three-
that?
3 pallets.
Yeah, well, our wash bay was pretty full. I think, Wendy, do you remember what the poundage was? 1,500 pounds of paper that we were able
Wow.
to get rid of. So that definitely helps, and things are changing. I mean, they say we're in the digital age, right? So I would say probably in the next 5 years we'll be paperless, especially with the new CAD system, the new law enforcement records management that we have. Everything will be digital. You won't see as much paper. You will never get away with it or get away from it entirely. We'll still have something, but you won't see as much. I know everybody, I'm going to move on to the, and I wanted to thank Celeste a lot, records clerk Celeste a lot, because she had to go through all of those records. And we had records everywhere. We had them in the back storage room because there was an overflow. Kevin coordinated the new filing system that we had, so we had everything moving all over the place. But she had to go through all those records, follow the retention laws, what we can keep and what we can get rid of, and that took some time. And she just finished on, Kevin, was that Saturday or Sunday that she was in? Yeah, so she just finished up, and the shredder showed up on Monday. So we had a company come out that we have to use according to the state, and they bring a vehicle out and they shred everything on site. So, but again, thanks to Celeste for handling that. That was a big project. The reserves, we already talked about the reserves, but I just have to say how thankful we are to have them. For the month of May, they recorded 194 hours of service or hours worked. That is just, they are so important, especially during Island Fest and big events like that. And of course, in the May, we still had the bridge closure. They worked and assisted with traffic control at those intersections. And they were there on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 13th, 15th, and 20th. A little bit of training occurred. Officer Kelly and Officer Mills completed their emergency vehicle operation. It's where they go out, they take a patrol vehicle, and they have to run courses, and it's turning and backing and high-speed maneuvering. So for us, we all go through it. Anybody that gets in one of those patrol cars needs that training, and it's actually mandated by the state. So 2 of those, they both went, and I know Sergeant Vasquez is setting it up to run a couple additional through. So he's gonna get everybody through. It's just we can't do everybody at the same time. And that is pretty much it for June coming up. Well, we actually already did the Park Lane Elementary and Meridian Elementary Fun Run. They participated in that. They helped with traffic for both of those. And then coming up on the 28th, Trenton is going to have their fireworks. So we have a huge amount of people that make it to West River where they're shooting off the fireworks. So we'll have them there, and they definitely help, because when the fireworks are over, you can't believe how many people they can put on West River, and then they all try to leave. And it definitely helps to have them, because they're going everywhere. And it's just nice to have them, because when you have that, what happens is people just want to park wherever they want to park. They'll park on the road, halfway in the road, on the front of somebody's lawn. So we have them there. They're monitoring it. You know, if something needs to be addressed, they take care of it for us. So we're going to be happy to have them there for that as well. And with that, if you don't have any more questions, that is it for me.
Questions?
I'm good.
Thank you.
We've covered everything well. All right,
Fabulous as always.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right. With that, what I missed is I'd like to welcome our new commissioner, Mark Malewski. Mark, I apologize. We got caught up with the life-saving awards this
Much more exciting and important.
so I'd like to welcome you to the commission. I am thankful for your application and your continued that going through the whole process of coming here. Looking forward to having you as a member and your input and moving the department forward. So.
Welcome, Mark.
With that, not seeing any public comment. Chief, anybody have anything else to add that we missed? or want to cover?
I don't.
Lieutenant, you're always here, but you don't say anything. I'm gonna call you out for a change. No, nothing? All right. I'm glad to see you here, Lieutenant, also. Do I hear a motion to adjourn then?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Motion adjourned.